Good day, everyone. So, we are going to discuss the global interstate system. So, the learning objectives of this topic is to explain the effect of globalization on nation state, categorize the institution that govern international relationship, and different internationalism from globalism. So before that, I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Christian Siumpad and also my co-rapporteurs named Mr. Junard Bravedenu and Miss Monica Akopinpin. Mr. Junard, he will be discussing and explain the effect of globalization on nation state, and I will be discuss the categorize the institution that govern international relationship, and Miss Monica Akupinpin, she will be discuss about different internationalism from globalism.
Here are the definition of nation state by many people, famous people, and by Weber 1987 described the state as a compulsory political organization with a centralized government that maintains the legitimate use of force within a certain territory. So he defines state as using force in able to maintain the the balance in a certain territory. Nation. Nation emphasized the organic ties that hold groups of people together and inspire a sense of loyalty and belong. Ethnicity, language, religion, and other by Shuttle 2014. So he defined nation as that it emphasized the organic ties that hold groups of people together. So it's like something like a relationship or a mutual feeling like that inspires a sense of loyalty and belong, ethnicity, language, and the likes. And nation states defined as a political community that emanates from civic society to legitimacy execute peace. Another definition. There are 5 effects of globalization in nation state. Number 1. To impose a forced choice upon nation state. Number 2. To establish of economic and political integrations. Number 3. Establish of international laws and principle. Number 4. Rise of transnational activism or PNA. And the last is creation of new communication networks. Number 1. To impose a force upon nation state. So here they conform to the neoliberal ideas and free market principles of the regulations, privatizations, and free trade, or run the risk of being left behind in terms of development. So, to impose, number 1, it's either nasa duha, mag-conform sila sa neoliberal ideas and free market, or mag-run sila sa in nation state. Number 2, establish of economic and political integrations, or establishing an economic and political unity. One good example is the European Union or EU and the NAFTA or North America Free Trade Management. Number 3, establish of international laws and principles. The UN Security Council has power that include the creation of peacekeeping operations and international sanction and authorization of military action. So, example is an UN Security Council that maintains peace in other countries, enable for war to not UN's International Criminal Court (ICC) is another example of establishment of international laws and principles. Prosecute individuals accused of crimes against humans such as genocide. So the ICC are the ones who prosecutes humans if they have crimes pressed against them like genocide. The founding of ICC is based on the adoption of Rome Statute of International Crime Court in 1998 with a vote of 120 to 7 with 21 abstention. Adopted by nation state in relation the dynamics of globalization. Universal Declaration of Human Rights. So, ang Universal Declaration of Human Rights are affairs in individual rights, and the other is the United Nations Convention of the Law of the Sea that defines the rights of nation state and the use of world ocean. So, i-define aning sa United Nations Convention of the Law of the Sea para mas wider range kay kung ano niya yung roads, ocean na words gamit. So, horizontal effects. Governmental Network by Slaughter 2004. Nation government offices connected to counterparts in other nation states in order to establish linkage that would benefit all parties. So, establish ang nation government enabled ay sa other nga nation state able to have some kind of special bond or relation. Linkage are information institutions that connect legislators, finance ministers, and other valuable individuals who are significant in carrying out various aspects of global governance. So, ang linkage is the plays a significant role in various aspects of global governance. The institution in legislators, finance ministers, and other valuable individuals. Number 4. Rise of transnational activism, or TNA. Such happens when activist groups of nations, state connect with their counterparts in other states. So, number 4, rise of transnational activism is nakahilabot when mga activists ng mga group sa isa ka nation state is makikonnect lang sa counterpart nila ng nation state. Last is the creation of new communications networks. Globalization binds communities through digital media. With new technologies in communication, political interaction can happen in a virtual sphere, therefore steering political discourse on an online platform. So as advances, globalization is thriving also. Like today, globalization binds communities through digital media that functions in communications, political interactions. Sometimes political interaction, in many times, political interactions or communication happens in virtual society or through online. Like when ASEAN is holding a meeting, each representative are using online platform in order to communicate faster and more effective. Network society, Castle 2009. Nation state must reshape themselves to become part of global networks in the arena of finance, education, science, technology, arts, and sport. So, ingon there ni Castles 2009, ang network nation states, sa network society, nation states na state must reshape themselves to become part of global networks. So it is essential for nation state to reshape itself and able to become part of global networks in the arena of finance, education, science, technology, arts, and sport. That's all. Thank you.
So now I will be discuss about the categorization, the institutions and govern international relationship. So first, I will be discuss the intergovernmental organization, which is IGOs. Their aim to their aim is to foster strong economic, political, cultural, education, and technical intergovernmental relationship. So, ang kanilang layunin is pagyamanin and to strong their economic, political, cultural, education, and technical intergovernmental relationship. SICAND is established in 1967, the Association of Southeast Asian Nation, which is ASEAN. ASEAN now has 10 member states. Its aims are: 1. To accelerate economic growth, social progress, and cultural development in the region. 2. Promote regional progression. 3. Advance peace and sustainability. 4. Promote active and beneficial cooperation and mutual assistance on matters of common interest in the economic, technical, cultural, administrative, and scientific field. 5. Provide assistance to each other is in the framework of training and research installation in the educational, professional, technical, and administrative spheres. 6. Work hand in hand for more effective and greater use of agriculture and industries. 7. Advance Southeast Asian research. 8. Preserve close and beneficial collaboration with current international and regional institutions with similar aims and purpose. And Indonesian, Malaysia, Philippines, Singapore, Thailand, Vietnam, Laos, Myanmar, and Cambodia are the member of as ASEAN, which is Association of Southeast Asian Nation. Third is the European Union, which is UE, with 28 state members, was established in November 1993. Its goals are: 1. To promote peace, its values, and the well-being of its citizens. 2. Offer freedom, security, and justice without internal borders. 3. Uphold sustainable development based on balanced economic growth and price stability. 4. Combat social exclusion and discrimination. 5. Promote scientific and technological progress. 6. Enhance economic, social, and, and territorial cohesion and solidarity among member countries. 7. Respect cultural and linguistic diversity. 8. Establish an economic and monetary union. Fourth, which is the Trade Organization, WTO, has 164 member states. It is the sole IGO that caters to rule of trade on a global scale. Its objective is to ensure that trade runs as smoothly, predictably, and freely as possible. It also encourages trade by lowering trade barriers that may hinder how products and flow nation to nation. So there is an example of IGOs, which is International Criminal Court, ICC, North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, and and all IGU serves purpose based on the common interest of their member state that is then beneficial to all parties involved.
Internationalism is basically anchored on the opinion that nationalism should be outrun because links that bind people of different countries are more powerful than those that disconnect them, by Anora 2014. Moreover, in order to avert wars, Immanuel Kant 1795 stated that the agreements among nations must be reached. He conceptualized the idea of liberal internationalism, which proposes that nations must give up their freedom and submit to a larger system of laws that is embodied by common international principles. He believed that a form of global government is needed to create and enforce these laws. On the other hand, Giuseppe Mazzini (1805 to 1872) assumed that nationalism and international cooperation complemented with each other. The most prominent examples of internationalism today, including intergovernmental organizations or EGOs such as the AU, African Union, World Bank, UN, NATO, ASEAN, IPCC, WTO, Mercosur, OALD, and the League of Arab States. The second one is the globalism. Globalism emerged as an attitude that seeks to understand all the interconnection of the modern world and to highlight patterns that underlie them. It pursues to describe and explain a world that is characterized by a network of connections that span multi-continental distances. Overall, the difference of internationalism from globalism is that the internationalism lays stress only on the solidarity and cooperation among the nations, while acknowledging their sovereign character. On the other hand, globalism is not only emphasize the delusion of sovereign expression of the nations but demonstrate the conflict arising out of this delusion as well. The last one is the global interstate system. It is the whole system of human interaction, a system of competing and allied states around the world.